We are live.
So I'll call the April 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Legislative Council to order. And Ms. Gresser, if you could please call the roll.
Absolutely. Senator Pouliot,
Present.
Senator Timberlake,
Present.
Senator Daughtry,
Present.
Senator Vitelli,
Present.
Representative Stetkes,
Here.
Representative Dillingham,
Here.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Here.
Representative Dunphy.
Here.
Mr. President,
Here.
Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser. Before we get this afternoon's meeting started, I just wanted to quickly provide public announcement, but for the benefit of council and for the benefit of those watching. I know it's been an ongoing discussion here at council regarding the potential of getting the legislature back into the State House. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we have started the work of figuring out how we could do so as we tackle the remaining days of this legislative session, and do so in a manner that is consistent with the guidelines that all Maine businesses have been following, and that we would also want to follow and make sure that we're doing so in a safe manner. Obviously, this is still relatively preliminary, but as we get more information, we'll obviously share it. So far, pretty encouraging, and I think that we are a huge credit to the nonpartisan staff and to Rob and Derek, who have done a phenomenal job of tackling a lot of the questions and sorting out the logistics of what that would look like and how we can make it work best. So I just wanted to say that up front, and I am happy to take questions or comments if there are any. Senator Timberlake?
How'd you know it'd be me?
Well, I saw you leaning forward towards the computer. So.
Yes, and I thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. My only comments I'd like to make, I hope we can be kept informed of how this is happening and how it's moving, because I'm going to complain a little bit. The communication around here is not flowing that well. I got some things I want to bring up today that I'm getting from the lobby and other places, and at least my office isn't being let know what's happening. So I hope as this moves forward that we're all kept in the loop of how that's going and what's happening as we go forward from here. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. I think I would just piggyback on behind Senator Timberlake. So not only kept informed, but maybe even a part of the discussion of what it's going to look like for us to be back in the building, and how that's going to happen. I know that, Mr. Speaker, you and I have had a little bit of conversation, and you did ask me for my input, and I appreciate that. But I think it would be beneficial if we make sure we keep that sort of dialogue going forward.
Definitely. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. Thank you. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Back to the regular agenda. First item on the agenda is the summary of the March 25th, 2021 meeting of the Legislative Council. This requires adoption. I would seek a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Senator Daughtry to accept the summary of the March 25th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Talbot Ross. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkes,
Yay.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Motion prevails. Thank you. Next item is reports from Executive Director and State Office Directors. Fiscal report from Mr. Nolan. Floor is yours, Director Nolan.
Thank you. I was just getting turned on. Mr. Speaker, President Jackson, members of the council, the fiscal briefing is at page 8. Just to set the background, this is through March. So 3/4 through the fiscal year. We are in the act of preparing for the revenue forecast committee to meet on Tuesday, the 27th. So we'll use this March information and as much as we have of April to prepare that forecast, meet, as I said, on the 27th, and then release the forecast on May 1st. So, but just to go over this quickly, through March, in March, revenue was 9.1 million below budget, but we are over budget by 278 million for the fiscal year to date. The reason, the large reason for March being under budget, you remember last month we said that we were significantly above budget in February because refunds that we had budgeted to pay out, we had not paid out because the tax season had been delayed in starting. So we had said at that time that roughly $96-97 million positive variance in February would be made up and offset in March as we paid out those refunds in March that we had budgeted to pay out in February, and that's what has happened. That's 77.3 million of the variance is refunds that we paid out in March that we above what we had budgeted. So that's just a month-to-month correctional thing, and in April we're again paying out significant amount in refunds. So as we had budgeted, so we are correcting for that, and so those monthly to month variances do happen, but we are fiscal year to date 278.1 million positive, and through the third week in April we're maintaining that kind of positive variance. So in addition to the refunds I just mentioned, withholding revenue, individual income tax withholding revenue was above budget by 32.2 million for March and is above by 64.3 million for the fiscal year. And estimated payments were not significantly above budget for March, but are above budget by 67.1 million for the fiscal year to date. Corporate income tax revenue was over budget slightly for the month, but is 26.1 million over for the fiscal year to date, which the key factor for corporate is the estimated payments exceeding budgeted amounts. And sales and use tax revenue, which reflect February sales, was significantly over budget by 17.1 million for the month and 74.5 million for the fiscal year to date. Last week you received the DAF's detailed fiscal briefing that they put out every monthly report that has the actual sales tax report in it. And that has some of the explanation for that positive variance in sales for the month and year over year. So I won't go into that right now unless anybody has any questions on that. So that's just a real quick look at the general fund. And again, we'll be updating that for April and incorporating that April detail into our forecast next week. So maybe pause. Is there any questions on general fund?
Any questions for Director Nolan on the general fund report? Seeing none, Mr. Nolan.
Next is highway fund. Highway fund revenue was over over budget by 2.0 million, or 9.1% for the month of March, and is over budget by 4.1 million, 1.7% for the fiscal year to date. Fuel taxes collections continue to be under budget. In this case, under budget by 0.2 million for the month and 1.9 million for the fiscal year to date. Those negative variances in fuel tax are being more than offset by positive variances in motor vehicle registrations and fees, which were over budget by 2.3 million for the month and by 5.7 million for the fiscal year to date. And again, we will be reviewing those highway fund revenue estimates, et cetera, to see if there's any adjustments that need to be made when we do our forecast in May. So I could move on to cash balances unless there are any questions.
Any questions on highway? Seeing none.
The average balance in the cash pool for March was 2.6 billion, and which is actually a decrease from February's average of 2.8, 2.9 billion. The decrease was largely the result of a continued decrease in the balance in federal coronavirus relief fund payments. This is the payments that we got almost a year ago that we've been spending down through the year. So the balance of those payments went from 322.7 million in February down to 274.6 million in March. Again, this is the money from last year. This is not any of the money that's new in the ARPA, any of the new ARPA money, which we have not received yet. The other big part of the decrease in the cash balance is a decrease in general fund balances. And every year, the month or two before the April tax payment deadline, as we're making largely people who are owed refunds in their income taxes file their taxes first. So we have a net outgoing of cash usually in those months before the tax deadline, and that is then made up in April and May with positive cash balances. So the general fund cash balance always has a dip in the first 2 months or 2 or 3 months before the tax payment deadline. So that is what we're seeing there. So that is not unusual, but it's still positive, significantly positive overall, that cash balance. But it's why the reason for the decrease from April. And the last piece, the average highway fund balance in March was 58 million, a decrease from February's average of 59.1 million. And then the last piece, the CEFC met on March 30th and reviewed and updated their economic forecast for April 1st. And that will be what we use in addition to actual receipts or revenue that's come in to, we'll use their economic forecast, which we're required to do. And that actual experience when we do our forecast next week for the May 1st report. So CFC was positive. They see less uncertainty than they've had in their last two reports. They made a pretty significant positive adjustment in personal income growth for 2021, but pretty much left everything after 2000. They made adjustments down slightly in 22, but left everything pretty much as it was, other than the positive 21 adjustments. So we will incorporate that into our forecast, into the revenue forecast. So that is it. If there are any questions.
Any questions for Director Nolan? Director Nolan, will the May 1 revenue reforecast be released on May 1st, even though that is a Saturday this year, or will it come out on the Monday thereafter?
We usually try to release at least a preliminary memo of some kind. We'll probably even do that before the weekend.
Okay.
So because we're meeting on the 27th, we'll probably try to get something out, just a preliminary summary, and then the full report maybe the following Monday. So we'll have something known before the weekend. So
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. Great. Thank you, Director Nolan. Appreciate it.
thank you.
So I'm going to take items out of order if there's no objection. Going to go with new business. I see a lot of folks in the Zoom with us who have bills under new business. Consider item number 1, consideration of after deadline bill requests. That begins on page 10 of our agenda. And I would recognize President Jackson.
Thanks, Prefecto. I wish probably would have done this at the beginning after your announcement, but in light of where we are with the bills that we have before us, obviously it doesn't have to happen, but I'm going to move that we table all these bills, not vote against them. But I would prefer that members, make their argument, because at this point, I'm going to be not very supportive of anything getting in. And by tabling today, certainly you can reach out to us and try and make your argument. But I'm not going to vote for any today because we have too much work before us and a short time to do it. And so that'll be my motion, is to table everything today, with the understanding that people can certainly still talk to legislative council members individually to try and move something forward. So that's what I'll be moving, is tabling all these.
Right. Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. It's certainly nothing that I'm in favor of. I'm not sure about, for the Senate president, but I have had members actually reach out to me, ask me for support, and they join us here today. I think to move quickly to tabling them without giving them the opportunity to present their requests isn't very respectful of their time. I understand that we've already had presiding officers put out guidance about what bills can be carried over. Certainly if any of these bills receive a favorable vote, they can go to the committee of jurisdiction. And if there isn't enough time for that committee to work these bills, then they could have that discussion at the level of the chairs and the committee level of carrying these bills over. So I, for one, will be voting against the Senate president's motion to table all of these bills in bulk. Thank you.
Senator Timberlake, and then Representative Steckes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will follow Representative Dillingham's words that this is something that if we was going to do, I think gets back to my point of lack of communication amongst us. I think we should have been informed this was going to happen. I got members on here, 3 members sitting on here waiting to testify on their bills that I've told to be here. And I just think this is another example of us not communicating and letting each other know what's happening. I will be voting against the motion. We should have made that beforehand. But I just think this is wrong. Thank you.
Representative Steckes.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, I would prefer to see these brought up on a case-by-case basis. We've got municipalities all over the state that operate 12 months out of the year, and this is a very short time frame for them to get some of the things taken care of in their towns that need some sort of approval or something to move forward through the legislature. So, to set these municipalities back months until we decide to meet again, I think is the wrong move. I would much rather see a case-by-case situation.
And Senator Pouliot.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't, have we ever in the past, like, this is my first time serving on legislative council, like just tabled a bunch of bills in April that have come before a legislative council? Is there precedent for this?
We've definitely tabled bills before.
Well, I know we've tabled bills. That's not what I'm asking, Mr. Speaker. I'm asking if we table the whole slate of requests that are being made on an after deadline basis, just in one fell swoop.
I don't quite recall, but I definitely know that at some point during particularly the first regular session, we do go through and table after deadline bills at some point. I mean, at some point the amount of work we have on our plate exceeds the amount of work that we need to continue to let in. I don't recall what the practice was in the 129th exactly, but I definitely know at some point we had to say enough is enough. President Jackson.
Thank you. So, yeah, we've obviously definitely tabled bills in the past, tabled numerous bills, all the bills at some time. So, I mean, that's fine. But honestly, I don't really care. I mean, my point was that I would table them as opposed to voting against them, so that members, you all know that there's such a thing called the ballot process that members could have gone through. But I'm more than fine with withdrawing that. We can have the discussion, and I'll vote against them then, because my thought was that members could reach out and explain very succinctly why it was needed at the time under a ballot process. But that's fine. If you don't want to do it that way. And Senator Timberlake, I don't know how many times you brought up something in legislative council that I have had no conversation with you about before. So please quit with the idea that the communication is a two-way. You have the same opportunity to call me before and talk about any of these things, but you constantly brought up things during the council that I've had no conversation with you about in the past. So I would prefer if you want to have that discussion, then let's either pick up the phone or let's get together and meet about it.
Senator Timberlake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And President Jackson, my phone line is always open, and my comment is that I don't know what I brought up too much other than asking to open this building up and make it back to the public is the only thing that I really rather recall that I brought before here. But I think I've made that very well known up and down the halls of this building every day that I'm here. But I don't know at such point, but I am just making the comment that communication, because we're dealing like we're dealing today in Zoom meetings, is not working. We're not doing the business of the state of Maine, I think, any justice. I think the person-to-person meeting is where we need to try to get back to at some point in time in the near future. I was very happy to hear the speakers say today that we're working on a way to get that done. I hope it's not only just getting the legislature back in the building, but I also hope it's getting committees back in here where people are face to face, and we can stop having quite so much partisanship on committees because we're not having any relationships being built. And I do think it's affecting the way the state of Maine works, Mr. President. And I'm sorry, but I feel that way, and that's the way that I feel, and that's the way it is.
President Jackson, do you want, is your hand? No. So I don't believe there's a motion on the floor. Do you want to take these up one by one? Seems to be the case. So first one is LR 2047, Senator Farren, resolved to designate the Kennebec River Resource Management Plan, a word that I won't even attempt to probably pronounce improperly, resources amendment, rulemaking, major substantive rulemaking, and to direct the Commissioner of Marine Resources to cease the current rulemaking process and reverse any actions that have resulted from this process. I will turn it over to Senator Farren.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members of the Ledge Council. And after watching that a little bit, this is my first time, I think, in 7 years to appear before Ledge Council. And I believe, trying to understand the process a little bit, we did request a ballot. I don't know how that process played out. And Senator Jackson, this is the bill that I talked to you about on Easter Sunday. And explained about how the Department of Marine Resources was moving forward with their rulemaking that basically called for the removal of 2 dams on the lower Kennebec and possibly looking at 4 dams along the lower Kennebec, and thinking that that is not routine rulemaking. And the request is that this would change that rule so that they would have to come in front of the legislature to explain that rulemaking process, specifically the Department of Marine Resources. And even though since put this bill, this request in, the executive branch has said that their process was flawed and that they had to pull back and start all over again. But I had a meeting with the commissioner as well as the governor's office last week. And even though they're going to restart the process, they don't think that the rule-making process will change. They just got to do some different things with notifications and things like that. So the concern is still that this is a pretty major substantive rule-making process to remove 4 dams in the lower Kennebec. And I think the legislature should play a role in that process. And that's why I'm having this request.
Thank you, Senator Farren. Any discussion or any questions for the bill sponsor? Representative Stekis.
Thank you. So this is one of those bills that I'm talking about that affects municipalities that only the legislature through the Ledge Council can deal with. This is not a frivolous bill that just wasn't turned in on time. This is spur of the moment, something that's going on in real time that we need to address. And that's why I think it's important for us to go through these case by case. This would make sense. If you look through my voting record on Ledge Council this year, that's basically what I've been basing a lot of my decisions on could the bill have been put in prior to the deadline? Or was this just thought of after? I've been supporting these spur of the moment, necessary things that municipalities, regardless of the political affiliation of the member that's bringing them forward, our municipalities are counting on us acting quickly in their benefit.
Any additional questions, comments? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any further discussion? Ms. Cresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stekis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy.
No.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
No.
the vote is 5-5. The bill does not prevail.
Thank you. Next item is LR 2046, an act to restore COVID-19 relief, equality, and tax fairness for Maine's working families. Representative Laurel Libby. Is Representative Libby with us yet? Representative Dillingham.
I'll move to table. Representative Libby did reach out to me early this morning and said she would not be able to be here to present.
Okay, thank you. Motion to table by Representative Dillingham. Is there a second? Second by Representative Stekis. No discussion on tabling motions. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Well, I'd like to say no, but I think I'm gonna go yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
the vote is 10-0. The motion prevails.
Next item is LR 2059, an act to provide adequate time for families to receive healthcare in order to attend school. Sponsor is Representative Heidi Sampson. Is Representative Sampson planning to be with us this afternoon?
I don't see her.
Should we come back to this, Representative Stetkis?
If you would, please. I'll reach
Yep.
out.
We'll come back to that item. LR 2044, resolve regarding legislative review of Chapter 124 Emergency Medical Services Personnel Reporting Rule, a late filed major substantive rule of the Department of Health and Human Services, Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Department bill, I presume. And is there an explanation?
It's not a department bill so much as it's a late filed major substantive rule. I think Mr. Charbonneau could explain.
Okay.
Yes, it's a rule that came in after the statutory deadline for submitting rules. So those have to be admitted by the Legislative Council for consideration.
Okay.
Under the statutes, there's a deadline for submitting major substantive rules, and it's the second Friday after convening in January. So any major substantive rules that are submitted to the legislature after that date come to the Legislative Council for approval to get in to be considered by the legislature.
Okay. Any discussion of this item or any questions?
And move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 10-0. The motion prevails.
Thank you. Next item is LR 2043, joint resolution memorializing the United States Congress urging the reduction of the cost of climate change for the people of Maine. Sponsor is Senator Bennett. Senator Bennett is with us.
Yes,
The
thank you very
floor
much.
is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Speaker Fecto. The reason that this joint resolution is coming late is that this is an emerging issue in the United States Congress about imposing carbon fees and what's to be done with the money. As you all know, as we all know, we have an aggressive climate plan here in Maine, and doing our part. Congress is taking very seriously major steps in this area. I've been working with Representative Ralph Tucker, who plans to co-sponsor this should you allow it in. And we think it's really important for the legislature to have a voice in that debate. So this is both of us serving on the Environment and Natural Resources Committee, he being the House Chair. We don't believe that this needs to go to the committee, so it shouldn't bog down any works there. We would hope that it would just stay and be debated on the floor of the House and the Senate, and then either passed or not. But we do think the debate is worthy, and we believe this measure is worth considering.
Thank you, Senator Bennett. Are there any questions for the sponsor of this joint resolution? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I make a motion to move it in.
Senator Timberlake moves it in. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Daughtry. Any further discussion? We're ready for the question. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes, I'm thrilled we didn't table everything.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stetkis,
No.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 5-5. The motion does not prevail.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser. Thank you, Senator Bennett, for being here. That concludes the new work. I do see Representative Sampson has joined us, so we'll go back to LR 2059, an act to provide adequate time for families to receive health care in order to attend school. Representative Sampson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Representative Fecto and President Jackson. So essentially, what we're hearing from parents is that when the exemptions occurred, the denial of exemptions last year with LD 798 occurred, and then the subsequent law that came out of that is that this goes into effect September 1st, 2021. The reality of the problem is that parents who have had children that need to be caught up on vaccines have been unable to access their primary care physicians during the pandemic for a good length of time. And so because if there are families that need to catch up totally, that the length of time is not enough and is not recommended by doctors to give them, give all the shots at once with the boosters and everything else. So the request to this bill would be to just push it off 1 year because of the pandemic and what that has caused.
Thank you, Representative Sampson. Are there any questions for the bill sponsor? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in, seconded by Representative Stetkis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy,
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 4-6. The motion does not prevail.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Gresser.
Thank you.
Thanks, Representative Sampson. We had a few additional bills that were on an addendum that begins on page 12 of our packet. First item is LR 2063, resolve to modify the deed for a parcel of property in the town of Carrabassett Valley. That's sponsored by Senator Black, and I think he is here. Yes. Senator Black, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Legislative Council. I first begin by apologizing for being here at this time and trying to add to our workload. But the town of Carrabassett Valley just reached out to me 2 days ago with an email. They're in the process. They purchased a large piece of land from the Bureau of Public Lands back in 2000. And they have their outdoor recreational center placed on it, plus there a lot of outdoor recreation. Their mountain bike trails are on it, and they leased that to Sugarloaf Mountain. And they were in the process of moving ahead with some major expansion, repairs this summer. And they reached out to the borough to see if everything was okay with the move ahead. And there was some deed restrictions because it was former public lands. And we've gone through this before with them, and they would not be able to move forward with this project this summer in preparations for next winter. And so they are asking that this bill be brought forth just for a modification in the deeds. They own the land. They purchased it in 2000 from the state of Maine, and there's a deed restriction that's holding up this work.
Any questions for the sponsor? Senator Timberlake.
Yes, Senator Black, isn't this kind of, as I understood it, just in our communications, an emergency for the town of Carrabassett? Because they really want to get this done before next winter and this can't be held off that much longer?
Their plans, thank you, Senator Timberlake. Their plans were to put a covering on their ice rink and put a tube-in slope, and on the side of the mountain there, which is on public land, and they wouldn't be able to have it available for next winter if if we wait for next year to run this bill.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I make a motion to move it in.
Senator Timberlake moves it in. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Pouliot. Are we ready for the question? Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Okay,
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the vote was 9-1. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Senator Black.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next item is LR 2061, an act regarding winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Windham. Sponsor is Representative Mark Bryant. Representative Bryant, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, President Jackson, Speaker Fecto, and esteemed members of the Legislative Council. Our town is made up of a lot of private roads. Probably about 40% of our town is private roads. And way back in the day, when we first started taking care of some in the wintertime, just making sure some people can get through and have access to their homes, the town entered into agreements with them on the winter to try to help them. And we plowed the road and we paid for it. And that's gone on for quite a long time. At that time, they had agreements, but over the years, the agreements haven't been kept up. We just continue to plow, and the town has grown. It's probably over 19,000 people by now. And so legally, some issues, and so the town has worked hard, put together a study, put out hundreds of hours in, and now they're trying to get that language to be Windham private and special law, so that it will just affect Windham. And they've also dealt with the MMA and the KD4 there, and they won't object if it's a private and special, but it's an emergency for us because we want to get it in so that the council can bring it for the town, get the language right, approved, and then be able to start cleaning up these roads and getting agreements in and making it legal. And that's why we're here today. It's critical that we have it and considered now. I have a testimony that I could read to you if you wish, or get to you, and you do have it there, but you have any questions?
Any questions for Representative Bryant? Representative Steckes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Bryant, these critical type situations for your town, do you think they're more critical than any other town or municipality in the state?
I'm not sure that that's true, but I think where our town has, the reason we have an issue is that we actually entered into agreements. And as you know, using town's monies for private roads is an issue. So legally, we're in a bind with our roads, and we need to clear that up. In order to do that and still take care of these people that we've been taking care of, we need to get it legally right. And in order to do that, would take a private special law to clean it and make it right.
Can I follow up on that? Thank you. The only way to do this is through the legislature?
That's correct.
And unlike previous bills by some on the Ledge Council, I'll be supporting your municipality since we need to do our job in the legislature to support you.
Well, this is a bipartisan bill. Representative Corey is also part of this town. We work together, Senator Diamond and myself, we work together on town issues in a nonpartisan way. It hasn't been that way. This is my 15th year. This is the first after deadline bill I've asked in 15 years. It's that important to me. It's that important to my town. And it's not a partisan bill. It's a bill to help our town. And I don't come here frivolously. Like I say, this is my 15th year. This is the first after deadline bill I've asked because I know it is a struggle to add bills late. But this is what I'm asking, not just for me, but for our town.
And I will be supporting you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Representative Bryant? Any comments? Representative Dillingham?
I was going to say I move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any further discussion? Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkes,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 10-0. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser. Thank you, Representative Bryant.
Thank you again for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Last item here on the addendum is LR 2065, a joint resolution urging the Congress of the United States to repeal and replace outdated authorizations of military force. Sponsor is Representative Farren, Senator Farren, rather. Senator Farren, if I had realized that you had another item on addendum, I would have put your two bills together. I apologize for holding you here any longer.
Mr. Speaker, no need to apologize because I have to tell you, it's been an educational experience for me watching this and how things go back through. And quite honestly, I'm a little hesitant. I'm almost thinking about whether I should ask you folks to table this or not. Just because I don't understand how some of the stuff goes, but I will tell you this, and then you folks can decide what they want to do from there. But there's some legislation coming forward in the legislature that deals with our Army and Air National Guard, and there's some confusion between what the National American Legion and the State American Legion supports. The National Convention of the American Legion sent a resolution to Congress called the Forever Wars that specifically resolved to ask Congress to focus on civilian and diplomacy, strengthen deterrence, and use of our military as a last resort, and to follow the rules of the Constitution and the Congress and the President to work together before they call our young men and women to service. This resolution, working with Representative Lucchini and Senator Lucchini and Representative Caiazzo, is to mimic that wording and support from the 130th legislature to our Congress. just the natural, the valuable resource that our young men and women are in the military, and that the use of that force should be as a last resort. And I'm asking, again, similar to what you've heard before, that this has come up recently in the last few days, and the timing of it was just appropriate. And I asked you to consider it.
Thank you, Senator Farren. Are there any questions for Senator Farren? Senator Timberlake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Senator Farren, I personally thank you for bringing this bill forward after talking with you about it and the importance that this brings to our men and women who are serving us every day. I certainly hope that we can support this resolution. I don't see how it's going to hold up legislation in any way. And I take it that you feel, because I'm supposed to end this in a question, that you feel this is very important to bring up at this time.
I do, Senator Timberlake, on a couple fronts. Is I think the timing with things with the dysfunction that's going on, that I think it's important that we send a message about how we feel our resources of the men and women, both National Guard as well as active duty folks, that they should be the tool of last resort, so to speak, and that some of these undeclared wars have gone on for too long. And then secondly is I think that it impacts and sends a message with some pending legislation that we have coming forward.
President Jackson.
Thank you, Speaker. Much like the previous bill of Senator Farren's, I had a discussion with him on this one. I actually had a discussion with Senator Lucchini about it and got a better understanding, and that's why I'll be moving it in.
Senator Farren has President Jackson has moved the bill in. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Dillingham. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot.
Sorry, yes.
Senator Timberlake.
Yes.
Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Senator Vitelli.
Yes.
Representative Stetkis.
Yes.
Representative Dillingham.
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross.
Yes.
Representative Dunphy.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 10-0. The motion prevails.
Thanks, Senator Farren. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it. I understand that on Representative Black's previous bill, there is a desire to reconsider so that the vote will be unanimous. I will entertain a motion for someone who voted on the prevailing side to motion to reconsider. Is there a motion to reconsider? Thank you. Senator Vitelli moves to reconsider. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Motion to reconsider the LR. Let's see, make sure I got it here. LR 2063. I believe Representative Talbot Ross voted on the opposite side, but would like to vote on the prevailing side. And I will have Ms. Gresser call the roll unless there's any discussion. Or Representative Talbot Ross, do you want to speak to this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. I want to express my apologies for any inconvenience, but I would like to vote for this bill. And so I ask my colleagues if we can reconsider it, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gresser, the motion is, I believe, still in order to move it in. And I would ask you to call the roll.
Okay. Senator Pouliot.
Yes.
Senator Timberlake.
Yes.
Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Senator Vitelli.
Yes.
Representative Stetkis.
No.
No. Representative.
Sorry.
Are you voting no or yes on that, Representative Stetkis?
Voting no.
Okay.
Representative Dillingham.
I just want to make sure that we're voting on the underlying motion of the bill itself. We've already dispensed with the reconsideration, correct?
I see. Yeah, we're voting on reconsideration. You're absolutely right. My apologies.
Okay, so voting to allow the reconsideration?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes, thank you.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 9-1, the motion to reconsider prevails.
Okay. And then I would entertain a motion to move the bill in.
So moved.
So moved by Representative Dillingham, seconded by Senator Timberlake. And I will have Ms. Gresser call the roll unless there's any discussion. Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
That wasn't, it wasn't audible, Senator Vitelli.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Thank you.
Representative Stetkes,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
it's unanimous. The motion prevails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to agenda. So that concludes consideration of new bills. And I'm just getting back to the agenda here. All reports from council committees, they're back to the regular order of the calendar. Reports from council committees, there are no new reports. Old business, item number 1, which is begins on page 9 of our packet, is council actions taken by ballot. There's no action required. This is just for information. This was from the previous council meeting or council decisions that were made by ballot. And I believe that concludes our work for the day. Announcements and remarks, because we did we consider everything under new business, I presume.
There
Oh,
are,
sorry, Representative Dillingham.
Sorry. Can we take up any of the after deadline bill requests that were previously tabled? I believe that is why Representative Bickford is here.
Oh, sorry. Okay. This begins on page 11. And Representative Bickford, LR 2041, an act to assist local fire departments by amending requirements for self-contained breathing apparatus. This was tabled at our previous meeting. Representative Bickford, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, members of the council. Just to give you a quick history, I'm in my 6th term in the legislature, and I've introduced a total of 4 bills. So I certainly don't want to overwork the legislature. But this bill, this came to me late. It came well after deadline, and it's to save municipalities and volunteer fire departments the cost of their breathing apparatus. Every year they have to return their canister and buy a new one, and these cost over $1,000 is my understanding. There's a new way of taking care of these apparatus, and I'm not the most well versed on this, but in many states now they don't have to turn those in every year. They can simply recharge them for a fraction of the cost. And this could save all municipalities, and every one of us has a municipality or a town that we represent. And for those towns, any kind of money that we can save them on an annual basis, I think is really important. And I urge you to support this.
Any questions for the bill sponsor? Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. Representative Bickford, was this brought to you by either your local fire department or your local municipality?
It was brought to me by a gentleman that works with the local fire departments, and he has their buy-in. And I've spoken with the fire chief, and they certainly support it. And I had asked him to reach out to you, and apparently he hasn't yet. So,
Representative Bickford, do you think this is a matter that would be deemed an emergency, or do you think it's something that could be considered in the next regular session? I hear what you're saying. I think the concern at this point in session is, trying to make sure that committees can wrap up their work. As you well know, May 7th is the deadline for 100% of bills being voted on. A couple weeks thereafter is the deadline for 100% of bills to be reported out. And we've already allowed a couple new bills in today. And I just want to,
I certainly understand
sensitive
that.
to that.
Yeah, let me just add that even the next session that we're in, we still have to go before Ledge Council. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
I
Yep.
mean, they're all emergency bills after this past December. So if I get this to committee now, I'll just ask them to carry it over.
Another thing that Ms. Gresser, just for a point of clarification, items that are on the Ledge Council agenda. So like if we were to table this and keep it on the agenda, would it be carried out? Would it be, no, it would die with the conclusion of the session. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That's helpful. Representative Stekis.
Thank you. So for me to remain consistent, I would prefer to see this brought up in the next legislative session, where I could support it at that point in time.
I understand that.
Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. I think my concern would circle around what Representative Bickford already alluded to, that if he's been asked if this is of an emergency now, and we're saying it's not of an emergency, our next legislative session, he's then going to be in front of us again stating this should happen because if it's an emergency. So with that, I would move it in and let the committee do their work on it and decide if it's something that is viable to be carried over if they don't feel that they can complete the work in their time frame this session.
Motion by Representative Dillingham to move it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Is the committee ready for the question? Council ready for question? Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yeah.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stekis,
No.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy,
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 3-7. The motion does not prevail.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser. Thank you, Representative Bickford, for sticking around today. And I think I also saw Representative Hutchins, who has a bill here that was tabled at the last Ledge Council meeting. This is LR 2016, an act to end the separation of patients and residents of nursing and healthcare facilities from family members during the COVID-19 pandemic. Representative Hutchins, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm about 2/3 of the way home from Augusta, so I kind of pulled over at the last minute, not realizing that this wasn't going to be on until John Bott called me and told me so. told me to get my acting gear, so I have. This
You're
particular.
dressed for the occasion, though. That's good.
Thank you. So thank you for your patience in allowing me to present this late. I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't think to put it in earlier when it actually was more necessary. I mean, we all know about the problems that people have had because they haven't been able to have visitation and all of that kind of thing in the hospitals and nursing homes. And naturally, the first month or two, it was almost impossible to do it. But after that, once protective gear became available in a much more abundant amount, I think something we probably should have taken care of at that time might have taken care of some of the anxiety that has gone on and led to more problems. I think it's still worth doing it because if we should happen to, and I hope not, see a spike up of the COVID-19, then it will still become something quite necessary, in my opinion. And so that's why I think maybe we probably should still at least look at it for that reason.
Thank you, Representative Hutchins. Are there any questions for the sponsor? I appreciate the sentiment and the intent of this bill, Representative Hutchins. I will likely be voting against it, not because I don't think the sentiment is important, but I think, as you noted, a lot of the concerns that I think existed earlier on or in the midst of the height of the pandemic around, folks being able to visit their loved ones in nursing home and residential care facilities has seemingly subsided as more folks are getting vaccinated and the protocols have been put in place for visitation. Probably something worth discussing at some point in the future as we consider the potential for these issues to arise. God forbid there be a pandemic like the one we've experienced over the last year again in the future, but given the workload that already is on our plates, I think I'll be opposing the bill for introduction at this stage in the game. Any other questions or discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Pouliot. Thank you. Are we ready for the question? Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy.
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the vote is 5-5. The motion does not prevail.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser. Thank you, Representative Hutchins, for taking the time on your drive home. Safe travels back.
Thank you very much for giving me the time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And then the last one that was tabled was Representative Hanley. Are we expecting him to join us?
We are not expecting Representative Hanley to join us.
Okay.
Representative Dillingham, I don't know if he reached out to you with any plans, but he told me that he would not be at the meeting.
Okay. And Representative Libby's not returning at some point either in the near future.
She could not do it today, no.
Okay.
She had a prior commitment and she could not change it.
Okay, perfect. That concludes the bills that were tabled in the last meeting, which also concludes the consideration of concludes new business. And the next item on the agenda is announcements and remarks. Do I have any announcements or remarks? Seeing none. President Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker Fecto. One of the things that I was hoping to bring up to the council is the idea of having the personnel committee work on code of conduct for legislators. I've had a number of things that's come forward over the last couple months that have been concerning, and there doesn't really seem to be any great way to address it. And to be honest, some members probably, don't really understand at times when it's a problem, because we don't have really any standards. We certainly don't have any standards to address it. And so I would like the personnel committee to look at coming up with, there's a number of other states that have code of conduct that they've come up with to address issues, to give other members an opportunity to address issues when they feel like there's been an issue that is been brought against them, that has become a problem. Members that feel that something was said or was taken out of, was not appropriate, and I just think that it would be something that we as a council should look at trying to establish, trying to put down, so that everyone understands what's expected of them. And in addition to that, in the unfortunate event that somebody does do something that is out of line, then there's at least a expected penalty, or at least something laid out that could be brought forward for any member, and it wouldn't be anything. It'd be something that we could look at and say is appropriate. As it is now, even if the entire legislative council agreed that an action of a member was inappropriate, I don't know that we have a good standard to actually provide a penalty or some type of action against that to make clear that that was an inappropriate conduct of the member. And so I don't have anything written down at this point. I don't have anything put together. Have looked, like I said, at other states that do have something like this. It seems like we could come up with something together that would be appropriate and set a standard. And I just think as a legislature that is smart and is something that we all should be in support
of. Thank you, President Jackson. And I see a number of people in queue. I'll just say that a couple of weeks ago, I had the chance to meet with Ms. Gresser about the current policy that we have in place regarding harassment. And I think, based on the current policy, I think there's definitely some room for improvement in terms of a policy. The current policy is very much applying sort of a legal definition of that would be a consideration of like, okay, the only way in which someone would violate the policies if they have committed like a crime, for example. And I think, in a workplace, regardless of, whether that's the legislature or anywhere else, I think we should have something in place that is a standard by which, we have an understanding of like how to treat each other in this workplace in a respectful manner that, affirms people's dignity and worth and respect. And I think that having an addendum and a redraft of the policy that would apply something in addition to the legal aspect of what's currently in place, I think would be helpful just for setting a standard by which we all can read, where we can read it and understand it. And I do think personnel is probably the best place for that discussion and to take a look. So I think I'm the chair of personnel. We haven't met, I don't think, since the 130th has started, but I would be happy to get a meeting scheduled to do that. I will turn to Representative Dillingham, then I saw Senator Vitelli, and then Senator Timberlake.
Thank you. I think personnel, I think we've met once.
Okay.
I think, but I'm in agreement that this is certainly a discussion I think that we need to bring forth and have a very candid discussion in the personnel committee. And we refer to it, you can refer to it as code of conduct. We do have decorum that we are supposed to follow in the House and our committees. And I think that on many fronts and many avenues, and certainly not by party, there has been a lack of decorum, both in our temporary chamber and in our committees. And I think offering some clear guidance on what is expected of our legislative members. And certainly, I know, Mr. Speaker, you and I have talked about many instances in committees of things that are happening within the committees. Most recently, one having to do with props and a chair having an impression of what is a prop and what is not a prop. I mean, those are things I think that we need to have a very clear definition on what it's going to be. So it's one of those things we probably shouldn't leave it to interpretation. It should be black and white. So I would be in agreement with the Senate President that we should have a further conversation and personnel and look at whether it's code of conduct, decorum, or even addressing our current harassment policy. I would be very open to that and look forward to that discussion.
Senator Vitelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Dillingham. You've really set up my comments very well. I agree with this effort. I think the Personnel Committee is appropriate, and would just remind this group that last time we met, I had requested that Ms. Little take an opportunity to review our harassment policy, particularly in light of our activities online and on Zoom. And so I would simply ask, as has been stated, that be included in the considerations of the Personnel Committee, looking at these broad issues of our conduct, our code of ethics and harassment policies that are in place or that need to be revised, and would urge that it happen sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Vitelli. Senator Timberlake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will, I guess, put forward the words that were said before, that I agree with them. I guess we got to do it. But I think the thing that bewilders me the most about this whole situation we're in, and the Senate President gave me one last chance to get on my soapbox, President Jackson, and this isn't aimed at anybody, but I think this would all, I've been here 13 years and I've never seen it happening like it here. And I agree that there's some stuff happening on Zoom and things around. And I think a lot of it does because we're I won't call it hiding behind cameras, but we're behind cameras and behind keyboards and in the personal touch. So this is my last stance to please get our committees back in so we can be face to face. And I think this problem would more or less go away, because we didn't have anywhere near these problems in my 13 years here. So I look forward to having this discussion in the future and finding a way to deal with some of the things that have happened. So thank you.
Senator Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to echo that I think this is a good idea and a good thing for the Personnel Committee to dig in. Definitely much needed. But I do want to say I think this is something that, can go on. If this is not just because of, our digital environment of being in the Zoom. This is something I've heard different stories from colleagues from, 10, 13, 20 years ago of having different instances. and not really knowing the correct channels to go through. So I think this is a really important opportunity for all of us to agree to and set some really clear, boundaries and really understand, what are the correct channels, what is our code of conduct, and recognize that this is the kind of thing that, other folks and other organizations take on all the time. So just want to say that I echo the sentiments that this is much needed, and I look forward to seeing what the Personnel Committee does come up with.
Thank you, Senator. And Representative Talbot-Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to add my voice to this as well. I think it is probably long overdue. I haven't been here for 13 years, but I have been here for 5. And I do not think it's limited to the fact that we're conducting our business electronically. I do think that in the last 4 years in which I was physically at the State House, there have been numerous incidents that I thought rose to the level of concern, and not knowing where to take those concerns, not feeling probably courageous enough to take those concerns anywhere. And I know I'm not alone. I know this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. I know this has nothing to do with me being a Black woman. I think it is the culture and an environment that we have all contributed to. So I welcome, and I'm really pleased to hear Representative Dillingham and Senator Timberlake chime in and agree to this, because it's just long overdue. And we're better than that. We've been elected by Mainers to conduct ourselves in a certain respectful manner with one another, to do the people's business. So I'm really glad that the Personnel Committee will take this up. And I look forward to engaging with each and every one of you on this issue as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Talbot-Ross. Representative Dunphy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to pile on also in support. I think this is a good idea to refer this to the Personnel Committee. And I think it's an opportunity for us to clarify, our existing framework, and also strengthen what we have available to us right now as resources. So I just wanted to voice my support for this as well.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with everything that's said. I think, I think what's been challenging in the past, whether we're virtual or we've been doing our work in person over the time that I've been in the legislature, and particularly my time as a member of leadership, has been the lack of tangibility of our policy and how we hold people to account when conduct is just not respectful, and in some cases verges into promulgating or promoting or harboring a workplace environment that is unwelcoming and diminishes the value and the worth of each other and the people that you work with. And I think because we are in such a unique place where we are all elected officials by our communities and by our constituents, it's not your standard workplace where you're the employee of a specific organization and there's an HR department that has a say on your employ. Here in the legislature, the people who have a say on whether or not we're employed or not are our constituents. But that doesn't mean we get to treat our colleagues in a disrespectful or offensive manner. And I think that's the challenge that we've consistently had in my experience since being elected in the legislature, and certainly as my time as a leader has been, how do we, what's the roadmap by which we hold our colleagues to account? And I think that's what hopefully we can do a better job of addressing moving forward. And I'm looking forward to the work in the Personnel Committee. Senator Vitelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to clarify my remark in asking for the work to be done sooner rather than later, and really would like to ask that we get a report back from either the Personnel Committee and or Jackie Little by our next Ledge Council meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. Can do. Great. Any other announcements or remarks? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Representative Talbot Ross, seconded by Senator Daughtry. And I've been watching committees now, so I'm learning. I've seen them just raise their hands in favor of adjournment. So all those in favor of adjournment, just show of hands on your screen. Super. That's enough. That's the motion prevails. Thanks, everyone.